Hi, this is Jackie from GirlWithNoName.com, and not long ago I had the distinct honor and pleasure of interviewing none other than Mike Geary, the author of The Truth About Six-Pack Abs and The Fat Burning Kitchen. And here are some of the things that he had to say.
Hey everybody, welcome. This is Jackie from GirlWithNoName.com, and I'm here today with none other than the awesome Mike Geary, the author of my personal #1 fitness Bible, and the book that got me solidly on the road to getting and keeping my smoking set of abs. In case you haven't guessed which book I'm talking about by now, it's the one called The Truth About Six-Pack Abs, and it's one of the hottest sellers on the internet. And if you're wondering why, I'll tell you. It's because it is the truth, and it works, and I'm living proof. Before I found Truth About Abs, I was one of those people that worked out like mad, always doing the same things, and always getting the same results, which were basically no results. Then I got my hands on it, and everything just came together for me. So you guys really have to listen in here because Mike's got a lot of important things to say. They say there's no magic pill, and they're right. It takes work, but it takes the right kind of work to get there, and the info in Truth About Abs is the answer, bar none. So I'm sure you can tell by now that I'm completely stoked about having Mike here, and I think this is quite an honor, and I can't wait to get started grilling him. So welcome, Mike.
Thanks so much, Jackie. I appreciate your kind words, and I'm glad you finally tracked me down.
Yeah, me too. All right, so let's get down to it because I know you're a busy guy, and I want to make sure you've got lots of time for lots of good info. So to start off, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Sure. Well, I've been a personal trainer for about a decade now and got certified as a nutrition specialist about 6 or 7 years ago also. And I actually used to work as a scientist as well, so I have a good sort of chemistry and biology background and all of that. So it makes me very scientific-minded about when I'm thinking about nutrition and exercise programs and such. And I ended up writing The Truth About Six-Pack Abs because when I was working as a trainer, I'd say about 90% of the questions I got on a regular basis were always about losing stomach fat or getting six-pack abs. And so I knew there was demand for that topic, and it was something people were confused about. And I knew there was a lot of fads and gimmicks on the topic, with diet pills and infomercial gadgets and things like that. So I figured, why don't I just put together this product, that dispels all those myths and call it The Truth About Six-Pack Abs.
Oh, right on. Well, I think that we're pretty lucky that you decided to share your vast knowledge with us because I know that it's the thing that straightened me out and, doing the same things over and over and getting nowhere. So, and you brought up the sort of subject of myths and misperceptions about what it takes to, get lean and get a six-pack. So let me ask you the burning question that I'm sure that is on everyone's minds right off the bat, and that is, just how many crunches does it take to get six-pack abs?
And I know that's a loaded question because the answer is zero. I mean, there can be a time or place for certain variations of crunches, and I put them in some of my routines, but I make sure to balance them out with exercises that work the entire core and work your lower back to make sure there's balance there. But to be honest, I don't even do any crunches in my routines anymore. I used to years ago, and most of my clients, we don't either. And, so I'll kind of explain as we get into it more as to why that is. But yeah, I think as you saw that, it's a pretty ineffective exercise and most importantly, doesn't stimulate your metabolism, compared to doing other types of full body exercises. Right.
Okay, so let's quickly touch on the late night infomercials, the ab stimulators and the ab rollers and all that stuff. So those are, you can't just plug into a machine and sit there and let your abs melt off your stomach so your abs show, or you can't just do a bunch of ab roller crunches. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, millions of people fall for those infomercial products all the time. And the bottom line is people are searching for the quick fix and without actually changing their lifestyle. And it's just not going to happen. You can't sit on your couch and just strap on an ab belt and because there's some electric current, it's like somehow melting fat. It just isn't biologically possible. So, it does take some hard work, like you said, and it takes real exercise and real nutrition and a real lifestyle shift. And, another important thing to realize is that even all of those ab gadgets where you might actually be doing an exercise, such as, these types of ab machines that, they say makes a more biomechanically correct crunch or something like that. Again, okay, maybe you're doing some exercise in that case as opposed to the ab belts where you're not. But still, you're just working the abdominals, and that doesn't do anything to burn fat, and that doesn't do anything to stimulate your metabolism. So in the big picture, it's still a waste of time.
Right. Okay, so then what about those little pills, those little fat-burning pills and the acai berry supplements that promise that just take these and the fat just melts off of you?
Well,
yeah. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, that's another problem with, just human nature, is that everyone wants the pill that's going to solve their problem. I mean, if someone could make a pill and for any problem in life and say that it could make you rich, people are going to buy that pill. I mean, it's just, look at the pharmaceutical industry. Everyone, wants to take drugs or pills to accomplish something. And it just doesn't work that way. I mean, especially, you don't want to get me started on like the acai berry, all that stuff, because first of all, with those, it's just an antioxidant. And these unscrupulous marketers are claiming that it's a weight loss miracle, when it's not. It's just, it's just a berry, an antioxidant. So that doesn't help you lose weight at all. So I would advise people just to forget about all the pills, forget about, supplements for a second, and let's focus on lifestyle shift and, types of exercise programs, nutrition, motivation, mindset, all the stuff that really matters.
Right. Okay, well, now that we've established that crunches alone and anything that promises an overnight miracle isn't the answer, just how hard is it to get six-pack abs? I think I've heard a lot of people that just think it's a completely unattainable and far too lofty a goal for the average person. I know I've done it, but like on an average basis, what do you have to say about that?
I'd say that almost anybody can reduce their body fat percentage enough to get a visible six-pack. And because that's what it's about. Everybody has it. It's just reducing. There's definitely a degree of it is how developed the abdominal muscles are, but most of it is just how much body fat you're carrying around. And pretty much anybody can do it. I really hate to hear people blame their genetics and things like that. I've trained guys in the past who were obese, and once they shift their lifestyle and make fitness a priority in their life, and figure out how to eat and how to train and how to get everything under control to make this goal possible, it's really easy. I think it's easy, and I've seen people who were making it difficult, once they get everything right, make it easy.
Right. So it boils down to total body fat, too. It's like you can't spot reduce by, again, doing a bunch of crunches or doing a bunch of stuff specifically for your stomach. It's about total body fat on your body. You have to get your whole body lean for those abs to actually pop.
Well, obviously the interview is a lot longer than this, so if you want to hear the rest, just head over to gwnn.me/Mike Geary Talks, and you can check out the whole interview there.